What was supposed to be a routine exploration of the old subway system quickly turned into a nightmare when the five urban explorers realized the tunnel entrance had disappeared behind them. Their phones showed no signal, their compasses spun wildly, and what was most disturbing, the tunnel layout no longer matched any of their detailed maps. Hours turned into what felt like days as they walked through identical tunnels, marking their path with chalk that would mysteriously disappear whenever they weren't looking. At each junction, arguments would break out about which direction to take, with each explorer swearing they'd never seen certain tunnels before, while others insisted they'd passed through them multiple times. The tunnels seemed to breathe and shift around them. Passages that were wide enough for all five to walk side by side would inexplicably narrow until they had to proceed in single file. Eventually, they found themselves in a vast chamber with 12 identical exits, and despite their meticulous attempts to map their route, they couldn't agree on which entrance they'd use to enter the room. Their blood ran cold when they discovered boot prints in the mud that perfectly matched their own, yet none of them had passed this way before. After what felt like weeks trapped underground, they began to notice subtle changes in themselves: increased sensitivity to sound, eyes that adjusted too well to darkness, and an unsettling familiarity with the tunnel system. Reality began to warp around them as gravity shifted unpredictably, water flowed uphill, and their reflections in puddles moved independently of their actions. When they finally found what appeared to be an exit leading back to the city streets they knew, not one of them stepped through, because after weeks in the tunnels, they'd learned to recognize when something was just a little too perfect to be real. Perhaps most terrifying of all was the growing realization that they weren't trapped in the tunnels, they were becoming part of them, and somewhere in the darkness were other explorers who had come before, still wandering, no longer entirely human.